I'm Gila Nehemia. You tuned into Collaboration Ascension Healing, and I'm live with Lisa Magdalena, one of my favorite coaches, and her beautiful cat.
Yeah, he won't last
And the
long.
Christmas tree in the background. What'd you say?
He won't last long. He'll run off in a minute. But
I know. I'm surprised he lasted that long.
He's ready to leave. Okay.
I want to say a few things about Lisa before I have you say anything. So Lisa, first of all, she was one of my coaches and really helped me to go into the shadow. She's excellent. She's a Jungian psychologist. I can't say more, but it's just, I could go on forever. I'll say a few words of what she's doing right now. She shows you how to live with joy, success, deep fulfillment, and true love. She, with her, you can learn more about her coaching and courses, and you could watch her free masterclass today on her website, lisamagdalena.com. And I'm really just glad to have you, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about people who may not be familiar with you, how you came into coaching, like a little bit about your background. I think it's important for people.
Okay. Well, it was all born from a really rotten childhood, to be fair. I was raised in a cult and it was extreme circumstances. And my dad died when I was 2 because of refusing blood, which was the cult's rules. But so that left me a very vulnerable child in an institution that secret abuse is rife. So and you're not listened to and you're not heard. Okay, so this is a bit of a background to me, but also my mother was the opposite of me, very emotionally frozen off. And so I had to learn. My intuition about people was sharpened from fear. As a child, it was all based in survival. So I was never a psychic child that saw beautiful things. I was a very intuitive child to protect myself and run for cover. I lived my childhood in the survival mode of fight or flight, which is exhausting. Yeah. I ran away at 16. And my family are all still Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm still shunned because that's that religion. It's what they do. It's one punishment fits all. Whether you murdered someone, don't want to be in the religion, smoke a cigarette, celebrate Christmas, rape a child, it's all the
same. Wow. Sorry, my kids just coming in.
That's family life, isn't it?
So how do they feel about you, your family now?
Well, I have no idea because there's been no contact since 16. I would say I think they're very shocked because I advocate everything that's opposite, really. Where what it does, being raised in that way, there is no sense of self. There's no sense of self-love or self-value. And so that led me, to be honest, to train into do what I want to do. So I needed to understand why people do things why humans do things to humans, and why we're horrible to each other, and why there's so much narcissism around, and how people manipulated and controlled. But it was actually I realized that I was training in it to help others, but that journey was all about my healing. I had to, now a postman's arrived, so it's going to be one of them days. I'll just leave it outside. I'll try and carry on. But the door, so hang on a minute.
Okay.
I'll just leave it. Oh, is it okay? You keep
okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you. Oh, cheers, lovey. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, brilliant. Okay. Right. So sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Life happens.
Life happens. I hope the donkeys kept you happy.
Yeah, the donkeys kept us happy.
Sorry about that. Okay. So hang on a tick. Oh. Right. I'm back. It didn't shut the door. Okay, so here we go. How professional.
I wanted to just say thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome. So my embracing into this world of personal development was actually born from feeling so much hatred, and I mean hatred, in my late teens and 20s. Unprocessed fear, unprocessed anger, unprocessed resentment, guilt, shame, you name it. I was very scapegoated in my family as the wicked one, the wrong one. And I kind of sneaked off with that. And I felt that they dumped all their crap onto me, really. And I was carrying that. And because they'd closed the doors to it, though, I didn't have chance for closure at all. No adult conversations, nothing. It was just go, and I ran. And so I'm very much about making peace with it, because I have had to create closure with so many people in my life that are not apologetic for what they've done. So I've learned how to, and I teach, that's what I teach my clients, is that sometimes we don't get an apology or a closure or an acceptance or anything from someone. And does that mean we have to walk around hating ourselves or taking it personally? So that's my journey, really. Self-love, self-worth was born out of a place of absolute self-hatred. I hated, as I said, in my 20s, I had so much hatred for my family, for the organization, for myself. I didn't know how to fit into the world. That's what the cult calls anyone that's not in the cult. And I had to kind of learn how to be in this world. And then I became a people pleaser, to be honest, because I didn't have a sense of self. And then because it was unprocessed, unhealed, I landed into the arms of narcissist after narcissist after narcissist, because I'm an empath and a people pleaser, or was then. And so I learned about myself through relationships, through romantic relationships, not really hurtful. I mean, obviously they're not always hurtful, are they? But you know, they start off, and I felt like I, throughout my life, have lost myself over and over again in love. You know,
Right. I know.
yeah,
Exactly.
really learning that. And so the last few years, it hasn't been like that. It's really flipped round because I've had to immerse in me. Because even though I trained for it, so I knew everything intellectually, and I was so great at giving out wisdom to others.
You're wonderful.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm really brilliant at it, but I wasn't so great at walking my talk. You know, about kind of 6 years ago, I think I really had to give myself a good and go, right, it's all about this relationship here with me. Everything is. And if I love me, if my heart becomes more loving, I attract loving hearts. If my heart is mixed with all sorts of kind of tangled messes, I attract someone with tangled messes, both friends, tribes, lover, you know. Because I absolutely believe that healthy attracts healthy and damage attracts damage. And I had to really face that myself before I could really, really change people's lives, what I do now. Because and I'm a work in progress all the time. Don't think I'm sorted, because I'm not. I am a work in progress for sure.
Thank you, Lisa, for that. I think it's really important that you share, because you know there's so many people who have going through similar things. I know with Lisa, for me, it was also about a narcissism, you know, and about being empathic, and I didn't even understand like what those words meant. And Lisa was really able to help me to, you know, and I was also a people pleaser, and it was like she helped me to really own my own, you know, what she helped me on the self-love path first and foremost. Like that was really the beginning when I was working with Lisa, and she helped me to realize who I was, you know, and really the goddess within and the divinity inside me, emotional intelligence. Can you tell us a little bit about your work and how you work with people?
Sure. Well, because I work with archetypes, so these are the characters that live within us, if you like, aspects of our personality. I call them our inner team. And they should all be working on our side in the same, going in the same direction. But quite often they're underdeveloped or overdeveloped or locked in a corner, or we don't like some of them. So they're all in-house fighting. And that's when, you know, like you have, feels like you got voices in your head sometimes, not like, you know, schizophrenia, but you feel like there's a part of you want, yeah, I want to go for that. Another part goes, no, don't do it, it's too scary, you know. Or a part that goes, yes, I really should leave this person, it's time to go. And then they call you, I'm coming back to you, you know. Kind of like, well, we don't feel strong in ourselves, in our own conviction, the God that we are. So archetypes are the basis for everything here, and getting to know the parts. We don't need them all to be strong, you know, but there are times when we need to pull on some more than others. You know, you're going to make big change. You need to make sure you're warrior. You need your warrior in. But if you're in a loving relationship and things are smooth and peaceful in your life, you don't need to bring the warrior into your relationship. Otherwise, it's going to be arguments all the time. You know, you want to bring your lover then. But I'm a great advocate of the queen archetype. I talk about her a lot, probably because I've had to work on her a lot. Because the opposite of the queen is slave girl. I don't mean that in any disrespect for anything of colour and slavery. I'm talking about it generally. Slave girl, it's the actual official term. Or lost girl, if that feels more appropriate. I don't mean to be disrespectful. But if I may use the term slave girl, okay. So slave girl is the opposite to queen. Queen is our empowered ruler. I'm the queen of my life. I'm not the queen of yours or my partner's. You know, I'm not the queen of his life, but I'm definitely his queen. Do you see what I mean? Because I'm not giving myself up ever again, ever. I'm not losing myself. I've done it too many times and it's too painful to drag it. It's the energy it takes to recover. But because of my upbringing and because of the kind of ingrained unconscious training that I have, it seemed that whenever I was in relationship, I mean a romantic relationship, I'd start off kind of, they'd be very attracted to all this goddess energy, and next thing you know, I don't know how it flipped round, but I'll be like, you know, change for them, wanting to please them. Same for you. Yeah, it's like, where's the power gone, you know? So I took some time out from relationship and especially this lockdown was really intense for me. I mean, I go on about it in my videos throughout lockdown, but, you know, I was in solitary confinement and that was like, you know, being single. I had a dog and a cat, but it was literally me. And I realized a huge part of me had been running from spending time with me. You know, in normal life, I'm meeting my friends, I'm going to love live music, I'm out and about, I love traveling. And this was like, okay, Lise, it's you and me in a room and all archetypes. I'm like screaming at the walls, and someone like, oh, I quite like this hermit life, you know. I quite like no wearing makeup and, you know, I can shower for days sometimes. It was quite nice. It was quite nice. But then it was also kind of like, what? This is me. I'm on my own with myself. And I think it's horrible. It's been an intense year, but it did me a lot of good. Because I come out of that lockdown thinking, I'm not scared of anything now. Because I think I'm scared of that. I was ending up on my own. And thought I'd be very bored with me. And actually, for the first time in my life, I'm actually quite interested to hang out with. I found myself talking to myself a lot under the guise of talking to my little dog and my cat. But it was lovely. Anyway, so back to your question. Archetypes hold the key to emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is knowing yourself. Not changing yourself. Emotional intelligence is realizing and accepting that we're fucked up, all of us, and we're magnificent. I'm totally fucked up and totally magnificent all at the same time. And yet there are things that we can pull on, you know, if say this part of me and everyone that's like broken, a little bit bruised or whatever. Well, there are times where you put that part of you nurture it yourself and you don't bring it to the foreground. Obviously, when I'm working is something I do. That's emotional intelligence. Like, even if someone's saying something that might trigger something from my past, I'll deal with that later. And I'll show up as the queen or the mystic or whatever is the archetype. But I believe emotional intelligence stems with emotional independence.
Hmm.
And that a lot of us, including me in my past, that whenever I was in love, became all of a sudden emotionally dependent. And that is a terrifying place to be. And I'm not that person anymore. So this is what I teach, is how to not be trapped in that web that happens when we're in relationship with other people. And I don't just mean love, I mean friendships, work, your tribe. We can lose ourselves. And I'm all about finding who we are and, and not crashing anymore, not going down anymore like a pack of cards. Did you find that worked for you, the work that we did?
Yeah, it did. And I remember I actually did another 6-week program after I worked with Lisa for 6 months, and then I did a 6-week program with her for the Queen. It was like a Queen program. And that was really helpful. It was like right before I went to India. And and what I really felt like I learned with Lisa was to trust my intuitive guidance. Because I had been like Lisa, I'd been burned in many, many relationships. I'd go up and down just like her, and I didn't ever understand like what was wrong, and it was through the work, this deep inner work where she really holds you, and she really helped me to trust the signs that I was seeing, and also to believe in myself. Because whenever I started relationships too, I was like, I had been on my own for a while. I knew what I wanted. Everything was really good in the beginning. And then suddenly I just like you said, I found myself in the reverse position. I was just like, what's going on with me? But after this work with her, I was able to really determine what is it that I want. And if I'm not getting it, then I'm open about it. I'm honest about it. I'm saying what I need. I'm not the same person. Like Lisa said, I'm not the same person I was. And even if that little girl or something comes up, I'm able to, take the time out and deal with it, which I wasn't able to do before.
Sure, that's great. And thank you very much, because that's what I do. That's what I advocate in myself and my courses and my work, my coaching, is I believe that we're here to look after ourselves. So I'm responsible for my inner child, my little Lisa, and you're responsible for the little you, okay? But what can happen when we're in friendships, in groups, in love and other people, we unwittingly expect them. We kind of like push, go on then, look after all my needs. And we push this little inner child into the responsibility of someone else, and they don't even want it. And then we get really hurt. Because not only is the little girl feeling rejected and hurt, the little one inside of us, we're like, how dare you reject us? But I'm saying no now more than ever. And I feel that in you, that's what keeps me happy, regardless of what's going on in my life. I don't go down anymore. Life used to be amazing highs because I was with narcissists. So it's life in multi-technicolor. When you're the narcissist, they make you feel amazing. Okay. But also, it's also your worst hell. And then it's amazing, worst hell, isn't it? But it's like incredible roller coaster filled with anxiety and angst and ecstasy, which is, it's all false. But you take your archetypes on that ride with them and you lose yourself, because they run the ride. They run it. And now I'm off that. I look after me. I love me before I love my partner. I love me before I love my kids. Do you know what I mean? I have to, because I have to keep myself full. Otherwise, I'm going to go down and crash and burn. And then I'll have to work to go really high up to go up again. So now my life is much more kind of like that. And I also really trust the universe that's really huge in my work. So psychology, it's so grounded in that. so that's like the basis of my work. But I'm a really highly intuitive woman, and I see blind spots. I think that's what I do.
Yeah, you did that with me too.
Yeah, the psychology part of me reads patterns. I can see people's patterns. You can predict where they're going next based on patterns. But my intuition reads the blind spots that they can't see. And that's what I've been doing for 20 years. Yeah. And I love it. I can't do anything else. I'm really good at it.
You're really good at it.
But it's like, I'm doing it all the time anyway. And
right.
But you have to keep working on yourself all the time. Or you're going to give your power away to people always, and then you crash and burn. So, yeah, that's why I call it the badass way to love yourself, because I do feel that we have to be badass. I think we do. It's so important to have really clear boundaries with people, especially us empaths and people pleasers. It's really hard, has been hard for me to create boundaries. I felt guilty of having boundaries, and I actually felt punished for having boundaries with certain people in the past. Did you have the same?
Yeah, I think it was really like I didn't, sometimes I didn't even know what they were, especially in romantic relationships. I just kind of didn't have any. And then, I used to feel guilty, like, oh, I shouldn't want to do this for myself, or I shouldn't have to say no. And I see that also with my own clients now are having some difficulty with that. But that I feel is really about also just prioritizing you, and your needs. So I see it differently now than I used to, but it's been a huge, it's a huge learning curve that the more, and it's also with your business. I was starting my business when I was with Lisa too. That was about, I guess almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And that was, it was a little challenging for me because I knew where I was going, but I didn't, sometimes even know how to talk to clients and stuff. And I remember Lisa helping me with that because it is, when you don't have any boundaries, and it's also rejection, you get rejection, you talk to lots of people, sometimes they say no, but it's nothing personal. No. And when we are in still that space of that little inner child, we feel that because of some of the things like Lisa had already talked about that we've gone through. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think it's really important to have a coach, because they really help you. And, Lisa really helped me to just realize just who I was and to really start on that self-love journey.
Yeah, for sure. I really love working with clients if they're working with their businesses as well, because I think you can't grow a business if you're not working yourself out with yourself personally, because what we believe about ourselves comes true for us. Mm-hmm. And also I love working with people, whether they're looking to start off with love, or they just started a relationship, or they're in one, because I think everything is linked to relationships, not just romantic ones, business relationships, friends, this relationship that we have. Everything is interlinked, and it's an area of our life we must be aware of all the time, of showing up authentically and healthily. And we can only do that if we've got ourselves, a good relationship with ourselves.
Yes. No, it's so true. I think a lot of my life revolved around relationships too. And I think that, and I think a lot of people, men, including women, primarily women, but I think also men, they're, what I realized also recently was everyone wants love. Everyone desires love. And because of our conditioning, all of us have different backgrounds, where we're coming from. And I think a lot of us have been stifled, from a variety of different things. And it's only allowing ourselves to truly open up vulnerably, which is really scary. But until you can do it on your own, I don't think you actually have the capability to do that with another person.
Very true. Very true. And also, our patterns are so ingrained in us from our childhoods or our past experiences that then they become unconscious. Mm-hmm. So we don't even know we're doing them. And actually, when we then read a book that tells us, oh, yes, and you think, I'm going to work on that, I'm going to break that pattern, we can't, because we don't know what it is. It's unconscious. So when we're reading the book, it's all very exciting. We get a little kick of yes, I'm growing. But I don't think we do grow from books. Mm-hmm. think it starts off a process, but we need it starts off the thought, but quite often you can get a kick, can't you, from reading a chapter in a book, but nothing actually changes. And that's where I think we need the long-term investment. And I've had to do that over and over again. I've had loads of help in my life, coaches, counselors, therapists. I'm trained one. I'm trained as a therapist. That's what I been doing that for 20 years. And I've had to keep investing in me, because it doesn't matter how much you intellectually know, it doesn't make an ounce of change unless you can authentically live it. And that takes bravery of a badass, because you've got to face yourself and be able to hear the stuff that you keep doing. And I think that's where to have someone to hold your hand through the process is actually quite beautiful. And it's a sacred thing. I think it's a sacred thing.
Me too. Me too. I totally agree with you. It is very sacred. And I want to say before I forget, like today is the new moon and solar eclipse. So we're in a very interesting energy. I feel like this newness. Yeah.
It's an incredible energetic time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think you're probably anyone listening to this, people have been revealing their true colors very much this year, and our stuff, we're just peeling away layers, and it can feel very vulnerable and scary, but we're going to be all right, because everything is meant to be exactly this, except in this moment we are exactly where we should be in life right now. Okay. And it can be that we grow and change and it develops. But right now, wherever you are right now, who you're with or not with or whatever, is exactly as it's meant to be. And so just accept it. Even if we're crying on the floor right now, it will change. It's only temporary. We don't cry forever. Yeah. It's true, isn't it?
That's true. That's true. I think that sometimes it does feel that way, though. It feels like it's never going to end.
Exactly.
We're just like, oh, it's never over, but it does change. And I think that's also the mindset, which, I know that you say in your masterclass, I listened to it. So it's also changing the mindset and believing that you can have it. I think that was also huge for me, because of so many disappointments in my life and things weren't working out the way I wanted it to. I felt despondent. And that's where a coach comes really in handy. I too have coaches. I've always had coaches after Lisa also. And it's really helped me to build my business, to believe in myself, to do action, to have somebody to hold my back, hold my hand, and to change my mind, to change the way I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big advocate of that. I think nothing changes unless we change our mind about it. If we believe we can't have something, it's really true. That's really true. You can't have it. But if you believe it's possible, absolutely, that's really true. But I, in the last few years, have changed quite a bit myself as well. And may I just say what I say about that? Is that okay? Okay. So I'm very much less hustle, more surrender. So I work on myself. If I want to create something in my life, my partner is someone that I'll give you an example. So I wanted to, I knew after the lockdown that I really wanted to be in love with a very beautiful grown up man. I wanted a grown up relationship, joyful and fun. And he needed to, I didn't want a project, I wanted a partner. I didn't want a project. So I used the time way before meeting this person to be that person that I wanted. That was it, first of all. Would I, am I a project for someone? Am I a true partner? Am I a grown up? Everything I thought I wanted in another, I needed to match that. I had to work on myself way before. Okay. And then I started playing with the idea of kind of imagining him in, because I realized that I live in a lovely little cottage. You've seen it, but it's like The Holiday. The movie The Holiday. It really is like that, and it's very small and it's tiny. And I filled it with me, donkey pictures and Ganesh statues and Buddhas and crystals and houseplants everywhere. I'm a houseplant rescuer now. I love the and I've brought nature into the cottage. Anyway,
beautiful.
So I had to think about how would I envision someone here. And I got really honest with myself. I don't want to live with someone. I know it's new for me. I was like, I want a deeply committed relationship. I don't need a ring on my finger. I don't need to get married. But I don't need to share my space all the time either. But I want to have deep, committed. So communication each day is really important. I worked out what's important for me. I need to know that he loves me. He needs to know I love him. I wanted that. I wanted a commitment. And I also wanted someone who would marry me. It's not like, no, he doesn't want to get married. I just I don't need it.
Right. Exactly. I understand.
I'm not looking for that. Okay.
Right.
So then I started envisioning or imagining him way before I met him into my life and how it would fit in. Okay. And I've done a little series of videos about this. So if anyone wants to follow me on my social media, that recently is out, then a whole little week of videos of how I manifested this love. But I'll briefly do it here. I then really sat and wrote on a piece of paper, brainstormed everything I bring to the party as a romantic partner. And it made me feel really good. It was like, yeah, they're getting a catch. Ooh. So that made me, I knew I needed to raise my standards this time. And that's what did it. When you can actually write a list of what you bring to the table, everything, it makes you feel like, I deserve a God. Anyway, the next day, I literally wrote a list of everything I desired, required, needed, and wanted in my man way before I met someone. And then they were really quite high standards. That matched. And I'm thinking, okay. And you know what I did then? I asked the universe for it and got on with my life. Carried on working with me. So why I'm saying all this, yes, mindset. But before I've manifested, really well, I've manifested, but I manifested narcissist. Do you know why? Because it was my mind that was, I want this, I want this. Oh, there you are. Oh, you make me feel good. Job done. But I didn't do the deep, deep, deep qualities that narcissists can never have.
Nice.
I let the universe or let the goddess take over, really. And I just got on with my life knowing that he's coming. And he did it here.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
And he's a beautiful grown-up man that we have such a laugh. Oh, his sense of humor, it matches mine, so you can imagine how much we laugh. And I've got a really big, loud laugh, and he's got an even bigger, loud laugh, and I love it. So I laugh at his laugh, and he laughs at mine.
I love that. And you know what I really also loved? It was the dreaming part. Because I daydream all the time, and I realized since I was very, very young, and I never knew that I was actually manifesting. And you're right, I was manifesting all the people that I went out with, but I didn't realize that it was only pieces. Like I didn't love myself enough to know what I was worth. Which I think the list is really amazing. And number two, I wouldn't always discern like a no, wouldn't even sometimes even say no, because like they liked me, they were really nice. Yeah. I think what I really liked about that was that you wrote down your qualities, first. All the wonderful things that you have to offer, and you realize what you're worth.
I know.
And then you're like, okay, so I want someone who's my equal. At least for me, I want someone who's my equal.
Definitely. And then for the first time ever, I've been, because of the lockdown experience of no longer fearing being alone, I was willing to hang on and wait for that equal, probably for the first time. Because I think I've met, obviously I've met men and been out with, had relationships before. And even if they weren't quite perfect, I'd sort of talk myself around a bit, like, oh, but he's nice at this, oh, he's good looking, or, oh, that's nice. Oh, I don't really like that part of him. Oh, well, sweep that under the carpet. And then you're 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line, you're going through hell because of the thing you ignored.
Yes.
It was there. And I say to all my ladies and my gentlemen clients, oh, that sounds wrong, doesn't it? Gentlemen clients, scrub that bit. Oh no, we're live, we can't. With all my clients, I'd say, looking back on your rotten relationships, or the ones that didn't work, you saw it the first 3 months. I'm an absolute advocate for the first 3 months, especially men. They reveal who they really are in the first 3 months. It's just us women are trained to be all, rose-tinted glasses and googly-eyed, that we overlook it. And I will never do that again. And I really work with my clients to have your eyes open. It's all there in the first 3 months, darling. So I see the first 3 months, or the first kind of 18 months really, but first 3 months are just an interview process.
Yeah.
They are. I think that, probably, but definitely the first 4 weeks, it's literally, are they through to the next round? Are they through to the next round? Of course, whether you love them. I know how I feel about someone, but you still must keep your discernment going. You must. And a lot of people will just go hook, line and sinker because someone's good looking, or sex is great, or they're, generous or funny or whatever. And I'm saying we haven't got time to waste anymore. I'd rather be single than go through that hell again. I'll just get more house plants. I'm a plant rescuer. I can't help it.
Wow, that's wonderful. It's wonderful.
I'm a plant rescuer.
That's good. I think it is really important to be. I used to be the same. I didn't want to be alone. I realized that with my late husband. Why did I go out with him? I knew all the signs. I kept seeing them, but I didn't do anything. And I even had many chances to go, but I didn't do it because I was afraid to be alone. And now I'm finally not afraid to be alone. I'm just really, and I'm really happy with what I have. And, and I just know that whatever is going to come through in my current relationship, or whatever happens to me, is just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I need. And that's just, I just feel like really thankful. And I've never felt like that, for a long time.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's because you've done the work. That doesn't come easily. You wouldn't have said that to me a few years ago, right? And to
That's true. You're right.
To work, and you were willing to go there with your shadow, and how I do with my clients. And doing shadow work is really painful, and it takes such bravery. But again, that's where you need someone to hold your hand and love you through the process, so that they're there. Yeah.
Yes. And so if anyone wants to connect with Lisa, whoever was listening today and whoever's listening on the replay, please go to her website. She has a masterclass right there. Is there any specific program that you'd like to talk about, or you have?
Until the end of the month, I've got a 60% discount on the course you did, the 6-week course.
Wow, nice.
Queen. So not the coaching that you did with 6 months, but it's a digital program. And it's really, really great. And I know that you advocate that.
Yeah, so it was wonderful.
For this to make it a 60% discount. And that's the time's ticking away for that. That ends on the 31st of December.
Wow.
It would be really great. And it's a great place if you're considering working with me, but don't quite fully want to leap into the coaching. It's a really good.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Great. Well, I definitely go ahead.
Just wanted to say one thing to people, if that's okay. Unless we heal our childhood traumas, our childhood issues, our romantic relationships will always bring them up.
Yes. I've heard that many times, and it's very, very true. So until we really address them and confront them, and you're going to see it already in your life, happening all the time. And until you actually look at that and really be honest with yourself, you're not going to have everything you're desiring.
No, not at all. I wish you so well, darling. I love your journey.
Thank you. It was so great for you to come today. And anyone who's interested in Lisa, please go to her website. I definitely advocate her, and I'd love working with her and all her programs. And if you have any interest in working with me as well, I have a number of different programs, a group program, personal mentoring, and a 1-month program as well. So please take a look at my website. Have a beautiful new moon and solar eclipse today.
Love you, darling.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.